Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful Muscle Podcast with my fabulous co-host, Jodi Dolo. How are you doing in this new year?
I'm doing great, Gio. If you're new here, welcome. Gio and I are two friends that individually went on our own health and wellness journeys and collectively have lost and maintained about 145 pound weight loss and have been able to maintain that weight loss for a few years now. If you're new to your journey, or even if you're intermediate and chugging along, definitely be sure to hit and subscribe today.
So, Jodi, we have a returning guest, a special guest. Tell us who it is and let's welcome her in.
We have Kaylee, one of the podcast hosts from Nacho Fitness Coach. Welcome to our show. Welcome back
Hello,
to
thanks
our
for having
show.
me. Yeah, always glad to come back.
Jodi, let the people know, what are we going to tackle here with our special guest on the first episode of the new year?
We are going to talk about New Year's resolutions and goals, and more importantly, the hate that newcomers get from joining the gym in January. We're here to tackle it all.
Amen
So
for
I guess
that.
to start, Gio, do you set New Year's resolutions?
I do not. And here's why, though. Well, I do and I do not. I break them down in categories. So if it's a resolution of starting a new project or starting a new writing or something, then I can set a date for January 1st. But if it's something internal, change my diet or start lifting different weights or something, I do that as soon as I get the idea, right? Why wait? There's nothing magical about January 1st. Now, I don't poo those who do have resolutions because, as we're going to talk about later, it's better to start whenever you get the desire to start. And so that's for me. But I do have some ideas of what I want to do here, and I'll bring them up here. But it's not necessarily a New Year's resolution. I've been thinking about it for a while now. What about you, Kaylee?
I typically don't do New Year's resolutions for the same reasons as you. It's if I'm ready to start something, I'm ready to start it. And I just get, when I think about starting a New Year's resolution, I get that just feeling in the back of my mind that I'm like, if it's a New Year's resolution, I'm going to fail at it. Like it just I don't know, because it's just, they just go hand in hand. And I'm like, I don't want to, it almost feels like it's jinxing it.
Yeah. And that's a good point because we're going to bring up a commercial later that kind of alludes to that. And we're actually going to talk about why we don't, in a sense, how to combat, right, New Year's resolution jinx. Jodi, what about you?
I usually don't. I did last year because I was trying to drive home on social media as a certified nutritionist that diet culture is vicious this time of year. They are
Yes.
thriving on convincing you need to change something about yourself. Even if you're fine with the way you are, they will make you think otherwise. And I wanted to remind people last year that you can pick something fun. Like my New Year's resolution, my first New Year's resolution in a long time was I'm going to try a new recipe once a week. Instead of collecting all these recipes that I'll see on
Yeah.
Instagram, hit save, and then I forget all about it. But that's something like if I don't accomplish it, it's not a big deal. It's not over restricting. I'm not tormenting myself either.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to nutrition, I could see how setting a New Year's resolution is good. Here's why. Because even I, who's pretty strict with my diet year round, I relax during the holidays. Right. So who wants to be overly restrictive? So don't take the
Yeah.
joy out of your holiday season and start January 1st once the
Yeah, I
holidays are
agree.
behind you. But make sure the holidays are behind you. So that's
Yeah.
one reason for nutrition that you could set a starting date of January 1st.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's a good point too. I think that's some of the issues with New Year's resolutions is you're just coming off of the holiday, which might
Mm-hmm.
have been joyous. It might have been awful and too
Mm-hmm.
much family time and too much criticism. So you just came out of a very hectic time and now you're like, let me change my entire life in 365 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
just, that's a lot of demand on your mental and physical health.
Yep. The reason I would be more inclined to set more of a way of eating or nutrition New Year's resolution is, I think with fitness, I think you can't put a date on willpower or mindset shift. Like, I just can't be the kind of person I'm going to magically change my mindset on January 1st. I'm not going to be able to do that. For some reason, I feel like with nutrition, because like you said, Gio, coming off the holidays, and you know what you just did with nutrition.
Yes.
And so I think after that, I think you're going to be a little bit more inclined to say, okay, let's come back from that now.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it was you, Jodi, right, who had a meme about some people talk about going on a cleansing diet. Over the holidays, I went on a clogging diet.
Yep. Yep.
And it's true. I ate so many. My wife made so many gingerbread cookies because the kids, she does them for the kids, not for the kids to eat them, but the quality time she spends in decorating and making them. I took her to her father's house a couple of days early, and then I came back. Man, I was eating like 2 gingerbread cookies per meal. So it's all good. You got to show yourself grace. So let me ask that question then. Let's say you did go over your budget over Thanksgiving and Christmas and you packed on a few pounds, 2 or 3 pounds. How should you feel about that?
For me,
how you should feel.
this was my 7th holiday season. It is 100 times easier to get back on track when you're not beating yourself up. I would feel worse if I gave my kids a complex about food because mom was too scared to eat a Christmas cookie with them than the temporary 3 or 4 pounds that I am currently trying to get back down.
Kaylee, you?
It's been interesting. We actually, before Thanksgiving, my husband started the carnivore diet, and he did that for a few weeks. And I had because I don't do that. I don't do fad diets. I know better. Gio, just wait. So he did it for a few weeks up until Thanksgiving. And just shed pounds. He said he felt great. He looked great. He's like, my skin looks different, all this stuff. So I'm like, I could try it. So after Thanksgiving, up until Christmas, I embarked on carnivore, and that's just not enough time, I don't think, to really see any benefits. So by the time Christmas rolled around, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for cookies. I'm ready for candy. I'm ready for all the Christmas things. But it was funny. I noticed that my kids were saying they would see me eating something and they're like, you're cheating. And I'm like, no, I'm eating what I want to eat. These are decisions I've made for myself, and you shouldn't. I was like, I didn't like that they were looking at me, seeing me eat a cookie and thinking, you're doing a bad thing. Because that was like how I was feeling too. I'm like, I don't want to feel like that. And I certainly don't want my kids to see me doing that and take that as that's how we should feel about eating foods that are good, are really delicious.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it was Jodi. Once again, I saw another meme that said, fad diets work. Fad diets work until they don't. Keto works until it doesn't, meaning like you can't keep it forever. So after a while, you either plateau or you just got to get off it. It's the same with the carnivore diet. I'm plant-based and Jodi is not, but I don't harp on it. But the carnivore is not long-term sustainable. It's not. You need your potatoes. You need your veggies.
Yes, you do. I know. And it's funny because I was finding myself even missing things that I normally don't like. I'm not a big veggie person, but I'm like, I would kill for some broccoli right now.
That's awesome.
So
it was an experiment.
At the point of this recording, it's January 2nd. So people have the whole year ahead of them. Somebody who's starting a new routine, like a friend of mine I'll mention here in a second. But what would you guys advise them? How would you tackle their requests for insight?
I think it's fine to have an overall big goal, but you have to break it down and be specific. You also have to realize just because it's new year, new you does not mean that you have exactly 1 year to get this all done because you're just setting yourself up for failure. We overestimate what we can do in a year, but we also underestimate what we can do in the course of just being consistent with small steps. Instead of saying, I want to get jacked, okay, let's be more specific. Let's break that down. What does
Yeah.
that look like
Yep.
to you? What are some steps you can do? Is this realistic? And before anybody says yes, is it realistic if your life is a little chaotic? Because as parents, not every week is going to be smooth sailing. So is it realistic when your boss
Yep.
is being a jerk and expecting more from you? Your kids are doing all these crazy extracurricular activities. Is it still sustainable when life is just life and things happen? So you
Right.
have to break it down in small steps instead of trying to change everything. Maybe focus on 2 small bites. And when you have that ingrained where you're not really thinking about it as much because it's a habit, then add on to it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Jodi. I think that's how I got started was I was like, what are the things that I need to fix? It was like long term, yeah, I want a great body, but you're not going to wake up on January 1st and, eat some broccoli and have a great body. So,
You're not?
you may have
Sheesh.
to turns out, I mean, for a lot of people, and I think Sarah and I talk on our podcast a lot about, and a lot of people don't realize how much work their sleep needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I think that's a great place to start is to really look at your sleep habits and your quality of sleep and just start there. Focus on that for a month, 2 months, and then move on to something else.
Yeah, for me, with my friend, he's been on this wanting to get started, not starting, starts, quits, and all that. And so with him, now that I'm going to be living next to him and we can talk face to face, I think I have to get down to what you were saying, Jodi. What's the one thing that's really going to motivate him? And I have to figure that out because you have to discover your why. The listener, you have to understand why. If you do it because your friend's doing it, that's not going to be long-term sustainable. If you're doing it because your spouse wants you to do it, that's not going to be long-term sustainable. You have to find the reason why you want to. And it's funny because I think, Jodi, in an episode you and I spoke about that our whys kind of change, but try to go back to that initial why. And for me, it was self-pity. Like I didn't like the way I've become. That was the initial. But now part of the why is one of my New Year's resolution that isn't necessarily a New Year's resolution. I want to keep my streak going. I'm at 169 weeks of working out 6 times a week. I want to keep that going for the whole year. Like I don't want it to end. But I started that close to 3 years ago. And so things change, but you got to find your why is basically the heart of it. And I want to find my friend's why. What really is going to trigger that motivation to change?
Absolutely.
And it's hard because it's such an abstract, and I've noticed and I've seen with myself is that with the physical changes, and those don't happen until later, but that after a while, that can definitely be a motivation, I guess, if you want to use that term. If I don't keep going, this is going to go away. But that's not, if you start in January, that you're not going to see those physical changes until depending, maybe April, maybe May. But you have to have something else to keep you on track until you see those things happening.
Yep. And I think it's also important to track habitual goals. So you want to lose weight. Okay, but if you said I want to get 7,500 steps a day or more water, keep track of that because that's motivating to see, look, I'm getting everything every day. I'm awesome. And like celebrate those wins.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. We don't celebrate our wins enough.
Yeah, it's true.
You think, I think even you, Jodi, at the beginning, you said, I lost 30 pounds and you were feeling like it was nothing. Or that was somebody else I was talking to. Sometimes we don't celebrate anything. Now, that doesn't mean celebrate with 3,500 extra calories of pizza and donuts. But give yourself a treat. Do something.
Yep. And in going off of that, I think we need to stop using the word only. I only lost 30 pounds.
Yes.
No, get only out of there. Stop diminishing what you did. Or I know a lot, especially in the Facebook community we're in, I'll hear, I know this isn't much compared to the rest of you. No, if you are seeing progress forward, that means you showed up and did the work for yourself and you're seeing these changes. So it doesn't matter if this person can do 50 pull-ups consecutively. if you couldn't do a pull-up before and now you can, that's awesome. Or you couldn't do push-ups
Yeah.
on your toes before, that's huge. Absolutely,
Yep,
we need
I
to
agree.
be more celebratory about what we
Mhm.
do.
I saw Jodi. I'm a big fan of yours, obviously. So I was just on my phone in passing, so I wasn't paying attention. But I saw a post of you celebrating you doing a pull up. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I see her do
I
more
thought
than
the same
one.
thing,
Yeah.
Gio. I thought the same thing. I'm like,
Then
we
I
can only
noticed
just
it
now
was
do a pull-up.
yeah. Then I noticed it was a Facebook memory from many years ago. But that's good. You celebrated doing one pull up. Now you do more than
Yep.
that. That is awesome. And that's what we need, because how did that make you feel, knowing that you could do more and yet you had that celebration back then?
Yeah.
It makes me feel great, but it can't take away that first memory, because not only did I achieve it that day, my kids were watching me do it and they were like, "Whoa, mom." And they're seeing this. Like, I want these health habits to like be a norm for them too, and then to be a part of it.
Kaylee, you said you saw it too. What were you thinking?
I thought the exact same thing, Gio. I saw the video and I'm like, because I've seen her other videos and what she can do, and I'm like, oh, dang, pull-ups must be a lot harder than I thought they were. That's so funny.
Let me show you, girls. I'm thinking about my daughters. Let me show you, ladies. On a side note here, my youngest daughter, Emily, put a little Lego egg up her nose, and she's crying.
Oh,
She couldn't
no.
get it out. It's funny how experience works, because my middle child put a raisin up her nose. And so we didn't know how to take it out. So we figured it out with my middle child, and my wife was able to do it quickly with my little one. You
Oh,
hold the
no.
nostril that it doesn't have it, and then you blow in their mouth. Comes right out.
And it'll shoot out. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to keep this in the video, so it may save somebody's life. But kids, luckily my oldest never did that. So what is it with kids putting stuff in their noses?
I have two kids. I don't think we've ever had an object up the nose situation. One of my biggest flexes is one my kids have never cut their hair. I was just thinking about that the other day. Knock on wood.
Cut their hair? Oh, okay. No, they've
never
gotten
cut their own
haircuts.
hair.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they've
I was-
gotten haircuts, but they've
I was
never
like-
cut their own hair.
I'm thinking, what are they, Rapunzel? Yeah. So let me show
Aw.
you ladies this video. It's an actual ad by Apple Company, and see what you guys think of it, because it says something sad. And so what can we help people combat that? Let's go.
Most people quit their New Year's resolutions by the second Friday in January. It's called Quitter's Day. Look it up. But what if we didn't quit right after starting? Or because it's raining or something? What if we had some extra motivation? This year, what if a little bit of help on our wrists
Goal achieved.
could help us quit quitting?
So what'd you guys think of that? Kaylee, let's get your thought.
That's crazy that I would be curious to know just, where that in for the second week of January is when
The
most
second
people quit,
Friday, yep.
which, yeah, that's crazy. That is sad.
So that would be, let me look it up. So tomorrow is the 3rd. That means that by the 10th, people are done.
Right before the
10 days.
weekend.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't eat any more broccoli. Let's party. Jodi, your thoughts on the commercial?
It's sad, but what can we do? Is it because they're making unrealistic expectations of perfection? But is it also because they don't have the right support, including some of the hate we see this time of year from gym goers about complaining about the gyms being packed? I think that's not helping either, but we'll
Yeah.
go down deeper.
Yeah, let me hold off on that before we go down deeper on that. I think, to me, the response to this commercial is something you said earlier, Jodi, about unrealistic expectations, wanting to finish them in a year. Part of the reason I don't necessarily have New Year's resolutions unless it's a project, but when I'm talking about self-improvement, I start whenever I get the idea, is because I'm not looking at life in blocks of years. I'm looking at life long term. What do I want to do to be healthy long term? And in a previous episode that we had, I was talking about I don't have high blood pressure, never have. However, in August of this past year, I noticed that a lot of my plant-based meats had a lot of sodium. I cut them all off. I don't eat that stuff anymore because I could still get enough protein from others. So I'm looking ahead. Yeah, it's not affecting me now, but what about if I continue on that high sodium for years and years on end? So I didn't wait till January 1st to give them up. In fact, to show you how anal I can be about it, I came to the final conclusion that I was going to give them up after we did groceries and I had a whole kitchen full of them. And I didn't touch them. I gave them to my kids. My wife ate some of them. My mother, who's visiting, ate some of that. I dropped it like a bad habit because if you believe it's going to be healthy for you long term, it's not done in a year. It's long term. Think of the future. Kaylee, you're shaking your head, so go ahead.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. And that especially when it comes to our health, I think good health should be a goal, but not a timeline goal. Like, I'm going to get healthier this year. Are you going to be healthier next year? Are you going to be healthier the year after that? I think it's great when we see like a transformation photo, like when you see other people's photos of them January 1st last year and then January 1st this year. That's all great, but you also didn't see what went into that. You didn't see the in between. It wasn't just I'm going to start going to the gym or I'm going to eat healthier. There's so much more that happens in between those pictures that we don't see. So what are you going to change?
Yep.
And I don't want to poo that, right? The person who takes a January 1st photo and then looks great on January 1st.
Yeah.
But tell me what the next year looks like. If you went to pot again, what was the point, right? Now, if the point was that it helped, you can do it, and then it builds into the snowball that catapults you to long-term health, yes. Because, hey, we can all have setbacks. But if it was just a one-year thing, then that's not or shouldn't be the ultimate goal. Jodi?
Yep, I agree. I don't know if G is going to cut this out or not, but I always say it's not like your virginity. Once it's gone, it can come back. It'll come back.
There are certain things you lose and they're gone forever. We can keep that in. I'll keep that out, what I just said. Okay, Jodi, you brought up something, and I guess we'll talk the remainder of our little time here together. The notion of the gyms being packed this time of year. Now, I don't experience that. I have a home gym, but you do experience that because you go to the gym. What is the caution you want to give the fellow gym goers? And what's some words of encouragement to those who are stepping in the gym for the first time?
I know crowds stink. I'm not a fan of crowds, but at the same time, everybody deserves to take up space. I would say don't compare yourself to others because we are on completely different chapters of very different stories. But we all had a beginning chapter, including the gym rat that's getting annoyed about the crowds. And I also feel like if you are such a gym rat, you should be able to swap out an exercise on the fly. My gym isn't too crowded now, but there's always times where I can't get on a piece of equipment. So I just swap out for something in the same muscle group. So it's like, you guys know January is going to happen. Plan accordingly, be able to roll with it, and be encouraging. Like I wouldn't know what to do if I was the person that discouraged somebody from working on themselves because I rolled my eyes at them for doing what they need to do for their health. That's awful. But a little nod or smile if you're shy like me, or if you are somebody that's outgoing and talkative, go say hi to somebody and make their day, make them feel seen. Because the bravest person at the gym isn't the person lifting the most weight. It is the person stepping foot inside for the first time when change is uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Yep. I would say I was the poster child for gym anxiety. And I mean, when I first started, I'm like, I had never gone to a gym. Like, there was just no way I was going to be able to do it. And when my co-host on the podcast, Sarah, helped me a lot with that. And she's, nobody's watching you. And I'm like, you're actually not the main character.
I like that.
I'm like, oh, okay, newsflash.
I know. It ain't all about you, honey.
The only time I notice somebody else is if it's a chick lifting heavy weights, but it's yes.
Yeah.
I'm like in awe. Or if they have a killer outfit, or if they're in my space, because I've had weird things happen at Planet Fitness, like somebody doing sit-ups directly behind me while I was using the cable machine, to the point that I couldn't do my exercise, and I had, can you please go? If you're not interfering with my workout, I usually don't notice unless you have great tattoos, you're lifting heavy weights, or got a killer outfit.
Since I don't go to the gym, I, in anticipation of this question, I was thinking to myself, what would I do if I was there? Because I can understand the feeling. Here's why. I used to live in South Texas, and during the winter, it's still nice and warm there, and we would get a lot of what we call winter Texans, people who would come from northern states and the golf courses would be jam-packed. And it was annoying in the sense of during the summer, come and go as you please on the golf course. So I took that same feeling and I said to myself, how did I make the best of it then, and how would I apply? So what I did was I made sure I had the first tee time. So I was the first one out. Everybody was behind me. I can play real fast and I'm done. I had to wake up early. I had to be there by 7:30, 7 sometimes. But hey, I wake up early now. So I think that I would do. If I had to go to the gym, I try to go a little earlier and beat the biggest rush. The second thing, though, I was like, okay, that's just for me, though. That's selfish. So I said, what would I do? I was like, I would try to befriend somebody who is new. I try to befriend them and see if you can make a friend. You know, I heard something years ago that I love. It says you can have 3 types of friend. A friend that comes in your life for a reason, a friend that comes in your life for a season, and a friend that comes into your life for a lifetime, right? You never know. Friends for a reason may be great quality and they served its purposes. You know, I've made a golfing friend here in Texas that we've been friends since I've been here since 2008. Now I'm moving to Oklahoma. I don't know if I'll ever see him again. You know, we're just golfing buddies. And so, but for that season or that reason, it was great. So you never know. So I think I would attack it. Be friendly, be nice. And then the last thing I thought about is put yourself in their shoes. When I first started getting into weights, I was scared of free weights. So I couldn't imagine going to a gym and have to bench, right, free weights and having to ask somebody. So be friendly, make people. You never know who you meet.
And you don't know if that may be the difference between whether they come back or not. That is what sets them down the path to living healthier. I have a friend who just recently started going to the gym, and she's watched my journey over the last couple of years, and she's had her own things going on, but now she wants to start going to the gym, start living a little healthier. And she said, are you going to feel like I'm copying you? And I'm like, girl, no. I'm like, I want this for you. I want you to live healthier. I want you to feel good. Like, and so I think just kindness in general, kindness in the gym, but just in life, you don't know what your kindness, what difference that may be making for somebody.
Absolutely.
I saw an Instagram reel where a man, he's well known, I think Jacko or something, and he's well built. And he was talking about, he was in a gym one time and he was having a bad workout like I did yesterday. Here's something to do, not to do in the New Year's resolution. Play 18 holes of golf and then try to come home and do a push workout without having eaten. And so, yeah, I hit the wall by the third exercise. I was like, all right, I'm done. He said that he was having a bad workout one day and then he saw a woman in a wheelchair roll into the gym and started working out. Like it set him straight, right? A woman in a wheelchair, and she was a little overweight too. But as you said, Jodi, the amount of courage that took
Mm-hmm.
for that woman to roll herself in there and start lifting weights.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's, you never know who you can inspire to do something great.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, one of my greatest, I say, accomplishments from my journey is like Maggie telling me that I'm the reason she got into lifting. I don't take that lightly at all, that somebody
Yeah.
decided to do that for themselves because they saw me doing it for myself. That's a gift.
Yes, and
Yep,
Maggie's
it
one
is,
of
yep.
our favorites. What she's been through, if you haven't listened to her episode, open heart surgery, type 1 diabetic, heart issues and thyroid issues. She's a walking hot mess, but she keeps it going. And I'm pretty sure she's not, maybe Jodi, I don't think she looks like the type that sets New Year's resolution. She seems to me the type that once she's going to do something, she's just going to go all pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know?
She did. She posted that she's going to sing more this year. So, like, it's fun
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
me saying I'm going to cook something new every week.
Yeah.
Speaking of singing, I would love to be able to sing. And I keep telling myself I want to get voice lessons. Maybe I should do that this year. But I'm definitely want to
Probably
get
an app for that.
Yeah, no, I want to get voice
You have a
lessons
good
for
singing
my
voice.
I want to get voice lessons for my oldest though. She does have a good voice. And she gets
Aw.
it from her mother. She knows all the songs to Frozen and she sings them pretty well. She got me listening to Do You Want to Build a Snowman? I actually have it on my playlist, my personal playlist. Here's why. Here's, for those who may not know, the reason I have it is it's such a sad song about sibling love. If you've seen the movie, it's about two sisters. And I remember listening to the song for the first time, not in the movie, but outside of, and it made me call my sister. Who, me and my sister are close. And the first thing when she got on FaceTime, I was like, do you want to build a snowman? And she started laughing because she loves the song too. Me and my sister such a, so, all right, enough of that. Back to weightlifting. So what else do you tell somebody who's new to the gym?
I think that one thing that a beginner to the gym should know is that just they're new to the gym. There's also a lot of other new people to the gym. That's not the typical scene at the gym. You know, what in the first couple weeks of January is not what the gym is probably going to look like in May and July. It is going to settle down. You know, some of those people will quit going. And do you want to be one of those people or not? Because there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
According to the commercial, is just stick it out
Right.
till January 11th and you're good. Jodi, I like the point you were going to make. Go ahead.
You belong to take up space. I know change sucks, especially if it's something completely out of your norm. And just because it feels uncomfortable does not mean you're wrong or you're on the wrong path. And as long as you don't quit, it's okay if you stumble along the way. We all do. I definitely have. I know Gio has. Stumbling isn't failure. Quitting is failure. And you've got this.
And you bring that up.
Yep.
Weightlifting doesn't always have to be about weightlifting. In the sense, this is what I mean. You don't always have to have weights. You can get a good workout if all you can do is body weight for that day.
Yep.
You couldn't make it to the gym. Have a body weight workout in your own house. I know, Jodi, you still do your TRX on Tuesdays, right?
I used to. Once in a while I do.
Okay, yeah. So she used to do TRX on Tuesdays. She didn't go to the gym. That doesn't mean you can't get a good workout. And trust me, you can get a good... I spent the whole summer doing body weight only workouts. And there are so many variations of push-ups. You can target different parts of your chest. So don't feel guilty that it didn't go precisely as you wanted. Oh, I wasn't at the gym at 5:30 in the morning 3 days this week. Hey, life happens. It's going to happen for me. I got 2 weeks where I have to move to Oklahoma and 2 weeks that I'm in meetings. So it's, but I got to get the workout in there.
Gotta keep that streak up.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So basically, if you are new to your journey, break it down into smaller goals. And you don't have to have it all done in a year. You can make great progress in a year, but you can't go from never worked out a day in your life to Rip City in 365 days and have your sanity intact at least. But also to those who aren't new to the gym, be kind. Even if you're annoyed because that person's on the machine, they didn't magically know that you wanted to be on. Just roll with the punches and be kind.
One thing going along with what you're saying, Jodi, is for me, just write down your goal, your one goal, and put it somewhere where you can see it constantly. And that'll help hold yourself accountable. Your health is the most important thing you have. So treat yourself kindly with respect. And I want to steal a line from Jodi. If you wouldn't say it to somebody else's face, don't say it internally to your own self. And click subscribe, join us, talk about your Nacho Fitness podcast as well. Let them know where they can find you and close us out.
All right. Yeah. So I co-host Nacho Fitness Coach with Sarah, and we do the same thing you guys do, and just a little different flair on it. But our main goal is and I think, and I don't want to call it a New Year's resolution, but I do, going into the new year, one thing I do want is to, I guess, let women in particular know that, get out there and lift weights. It's not going to hurt you. It's not scary. And as a matter of fact, you, especially women getting up there in age, such as myself, you are losing muscle mass. And the treadmill is not going to fix that. Treadmill's great, running's great, whatever. Get out there and lift weights. And so that's what I'm going to harp on this year to everybody.
Amen.
Good.
Amen.
So
Yes.
you can follow us, Nacho Fitness Coach, on Instagram at Nacho Fitness Coach. I think on Facebook we had to switch it up. It's at Nacho Fit Coach. We put new episodes out every Wednesday. And yeah.
Okay. We'll have to have you and Sarah on again in the future.
Yep.
And until next time on the Mindful Muscle Podcast, be blessed and may your resolutions come true.